Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 6-5 offsuit, but he's up against his nemesis of 20 years, Phil Ivey, who's holding King Jack suited. Ivey raises to 75,000. Most players would probably fold in Daniel's spot.
No choice, can't fold it. Gotta see a flop in the big blind.
There's the call. So it's Daniel versus Phil.
Ivey is 64% favorite for now, but the flop comes 8-6-6 and Negreanu hits trips.
Eight of hearts.
I don't see Phil falling for this.
Phil checks too. I don't know how, but he can somehow feel Daniel is strong here.
A king on the turn.
Now I see him falling for it a little.
Negreanu wants Phil second-guessing every assumption. Wants him trapped between is he bluffing and is he setting me up? What looks like hesitation is actually misdirection. This is less about cards, more about control.
Daniel leads. Phil now with top pair.
Even if you think Daniel has a 6, you can't just go folding top pair.
Negreanu's sizing here leaves Ivey about 3.5 to 1 on a call. And with top pair, that's usually a no-brainer. But what Daniel's really doing here is laying the groundwork for the river. He's planting the seed that says, if you call now, you're going to have to call big later. This is psychological compounding. Pressure applied in stages. Daniel is hoping that Phil did indeed hit that king on the turn, and he's going to try to make him sweat like a maniac.
He calls. The river is a jack.
Wow, Daniel is running better than Prefontaine.
Daniel value bets his trips. Phil forced to call with top 2.
Nope.
So obvious you have a 6. Got 350.
Trip sixes. Phil shows King Jack for top 2. Daniel's trip sixes take 5.
Good call, good call. Good thing you didn't raise. That was smart. You know what you're doing.
Daniel Negreanu has pocket kings.
Raises? Queen high.
Queen high?
He opens the pot to $1,200, a classic early position flex that targets the blinds and sets up a pot he can steer in position. Phil Hellmuth, smooth, calls, choosing pot control and range protection over a thin 3-bet. Eugene Kachelov comes along as well with ace-9, content to realize in position and take a multi-way flop against 2 ranges that can play face-up on ace-high textures. Kachelov checks the ace-high flop, protecting a top-pair hand with a middling kicker and letting the action declare itself. Negreanu checks behind. Pocket kings hate attacking into 2 players on an ace board, and the slow down keeps weaker hands and bluffs alive while controlling the pot. Hellmuth takes the invitation and fires $1,200, a small stab meant to fold out nothing hands and price set against exactly these cautious checks. Kachelov calls, signaling he is not afraid of a little heat with top pair. Negreanu overcalls, a cagey line that keeps both ranges uncapped and disguises the true strength of kings by wearing the same hoodie as ace-X.
You too, Daniel?
Yeah.
My God.
You didn't expect 2 calls, right?
No,
Just one.
I was expecting 1 call.
No.
All 3 check the turn after the 8 rolls off. That card changes little. Kachelov sees no need to inflate with his kicker problem. Hellmuth's one-and-done bluff correctly shuts down into 2 sticky ranges, and Negreanu continues the sandbag, preserving the option to spring value or bluff catch on rivered scare cards. The river drops the king of clubs and the trap wakes up. Kachelov leads $4,200, thin value that hopes to get paid by worse aces and denies a free showdown to stubborn pairs. Negreanu answers with a raise to $14,200, selling a story consistent with a slow-played monster or a patient ace that improved, and crucially targeting the very hand Kachelov is value betting.
I think Phil's Hollywooding a bit here since he bet out on the flop.
Hellmuth gets out of the way, his earlier poke having run its course. Faced with a credible, disciplined raise from a player who never overbets his bluffs, Kachelov has to reassess whether ace-9 is really a cash-out hand or a tip jar.
And Eugene folds.
I had at least that.
Negreanu is looking down on Jack-10 suited. Lichtenberger opens the hijack and both stacks behind are deep, so the pre-flop incentives matter. With aces, raising to 45K keeps in dominated broadways and pairs while leaving room to play streets post-flop instead of taking a huge 4-bet pot this close to the business end of a major event. Negreanu flats the cutoff with Jack-10 suited. Against a competent hijack opener and a sticky big blind, that hand prints by realizing equity rather than trying to 3-bet. If he 3-bets, he invites a 4-bet from value, folds out the weaker stuff he dominates, and risks playing a bloated pot with a hand that prefers multi-way, position, and disguised equity. D bleeds into 2 players. With top pair and a backdoor club, he denies overcards a free look and sets the price on a texture that can change quickly. Lichtenberger just calls with aces. That's deliberate, raising polarizes him on a wet board and risks pushing out Negreanu's dominated continues. With the ace of clubs, he blocks the nut flush, so he doesn't fear as many bad turns and can keep ranges wide. Negreanu's call with Jack 10 is standard. He has the clean open-ender to the nuts, excellent position, and 2 opponents who will pay him off if he hits. Turning this into a raise would fold out worse and isolate against the top of range. The 7 of clubs hits, and Negreanu picks up the straight at the same time the front door flush completes. Lichtenberger checks as well, which keeps his range disguised and preserves the option to spring a check raise. With aces that include the ace of clubs, he can induce a bet, choose between calling and jamming, and if he is behind, he carries 9 outs to the nuts. Negreanu fires 295k to tax everything at once. The bet extracts from 2 pairs and sets that fear a 4th club, charges single club over pairs that refuse to fold, and denies a cheap river to ace of clubs holdings that would love a free card. The sizing is intentional because it sets up a straightforward stack-off versus a check raise, and avoids giving a volatile river the chance to undo his equity lead.
Feeling comfortable right now. See? You can tell by my energy. Relaxed. What does that usually mean? Huh? What? Dang! As soon as I start yapping, he goes in. Oh, man.
Imagine that you are so good with the mind games that you can induce an all-in shove with just some yapping.
Tough decision. I'm gonna need a minute.
While we wait for Negreanu to make his decision, please give this video a like. Thank you.
Because you check the turn. I guess you do that with the ace-high flush, right? Well, you have to have it. I don't think I can fold, though. Nice hand, bro.
This part here was inaudible, but you can clearly see that he is saying deuce of hearts a few times.
Called the deuce of hearts. Were you hearing me saying deuce of hearts?
Negreanu is looking down on ace-jack offsuit. He opens to 400 and Torelli flats with pocket 5s, a perfect depth and position call that set minds while keeping Negreanu's weaker aces and broadways in. Pocket 5s thrive in exactly this configuration. Stacks are deep enough to realize implied odds, position is secured on the razor, and there are aggressive players behind who may overcall and sweeten the price. Turning 5s into a 3-bet would narrow Negreanu to a tough, high card range and invite a 4-bet that forces the pair into a guessy spot or a fold. The flop comes Queen 5-2 with 2 clubs and the initiative shifts. Negreanu has range advantage and fires 1,150, a small c-bet that folds out the air and taxes hands like ace-x without a club while still keeping dominated queens in.
Over half pot into 4 opponents, this bet should come free with a drink at the bar because it is a little nuts.
Torelli springs the value raise to 2,500 with middle set. It builds the pot, protects against club and straight runouts, and forces Negreanu to define his hand. Negreanu's call is the right kind of stubborn. With ace-jack, he has 2 clean overcards. The nut club backdoor via the ace of clubs, and he keeps Torelli's bluffs and thinner value lines alive, rather than turning his hand into a bluff with a 3-bet. The turn is the jack of clubs, and it's a huge texture shift for Negreanu's strategy even though he's still behind. He pairs up, picks up the nut club blocker, and leads 3,100 into a range that just advertised strength on the flop. The donk bet does several jobs at once. It denies a free card to ace-queen and king-queen with a club. It prevents Torelli from setting the price with all of his strong but vulnerable hands. And it tells a story consistent with a flush that arrived and now wants value. Torelli's call keeps the trap set with his set of 5s, but notice how the informational asymmetry flips. Negreanu has seized the narrative and gets to choose the river cadence. The river is the ace of diamonds, pairing Negreanu to aces and jacks and leaving the front door clubs unchanged.
And he moves all in. We could be about to lose Daniel Negreanu.
And immediately turns to the weapon that separates him from almost everyone else at the table, live read pressure via table talk. He starts narrating the hand out loud in a way that pins Torelli to a category.
You got ace, queen of hearts or something?
Alternating confidence with doubt so that every nod in Torelli's head feels recognized. He sprinkles in just enough truth to be believable.
It's like I want to fold.
Really?
You have a what?
I want to fold.
You don't have a fold?
No, I want to fold.
Oh,
I wanted to
did you have
fold
ace, queen of hearts? Is that what you have? 'Cause that's kind of what I put you on.
Fold the damn turn.
Ace, queen of hearts might get half. Go for the high, I'll take the low.
Might get half. That's good.
I appreciate you watching this far. If you're enjoying these videos, hit that like button. It really helps me out. Thank you.
You're special, though.
That's what I've been told. He had 5s?
Ding!
And he lays it down! He folds the set!
Show like a red 9 and You're my hero.
I'll show you one card. That's good. Let's see.
King of clubs.
Wow. What a card, right?
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 10-7 offsuit, but Seaver has raised to $1,300 with pocket fives, and Hashem has called with Jack 10 suited.
Uh-oh, this is Daniel's favorite hand, and it's actually gotten him into trouble in the big game before.
Re-raises on the button to 5,200.
He knows Seaver's range is wide and Hashem's flat is vulnerable. Even though it's his favorite hand, he's trying to play the players, not the cards. This raise is about letting them know that he's going to give them a hard time this hand if they decide to play along.
Scott Seaver is really hoping Daniel has an overpair so that he has the right implied odds to make this call.
Hashem folded, so heads up to the flop. King, deuce, queen. Seaver checks the best hand.
Negreanu knows Seaver could easily have king-queen here after raising and then calling Daniel's re-raise pre-flop. But why would he check? Daniel smells weakness, and that's usually when he gets curious.
He reps, betting 6,200.
Looks like Scott's gonna peel.
He calls.
Hashem wants his cards back.
6 of spades on the turn. Seaver checks.
Daniel still got just 10 high. This is one of the dangers of having a favorite hand.
Daniel does not look like he's about to check. After just calling the flop and checking the turn, Negreanu is probably putting Seaver on a draw or the weak pocket pair he does indeed have. He's thinking, if I apply the right pressure now, Seaver might just fold and give me all the money.
Daniel does fire that third barrel, making it 14,200 to go.
I could justify Scott's call on the flop, thinking maybe Daniel would shut down after one bet, but Daniel certainly hasn't shut down.
Seaver keeps it going. He calls.
Seaver's totally stationing Negreanu.
You mean like a calling station?
Exactly.
4 clubs on the river. Seaver checks.
Sick.
Daniel fires 36,000.
Seaver is capped, checked every street, and never repped strength. Daniel has nothing, but he knows Seaver is weak enough to fold. This is a masterclass.
Folds the winner.
Phew-wee. You had me staring. I had my favorite hand. You know what that is?
10-7?
7 of diamonds and 10 of clubs specifically. Can't believe I got away with a bluff.
Negreanu is looking down on pocket deuces. Luca opens to 30K with pocket nines, a bread-and-butter early raise that covers a wide band of low and middling boards and pressures the offsuit broadways behind him. The hand wants callers who show up with overcards and then miss. It also doesn't mind playing smaller pots where it can value bet cleanly across safe runouts. Negreanu flat calls with pocket deuces. Small pairs love this configuration. He has position to control price. Stacks are deep enough to realize implied odds, and keeping it single raise preserves all the set and wheel runouts that print against one pair. Turning deuces into a 3-bet would just funnel Luca into strong overpairs and invite a 4-bet. Calling keeps the deck wide and the story flexible. The flop comes low and connected, exactly the texture where the caller can credibly have all the sets and the occasional 4-2 or 6-5. Luca makes the routine range C-bet for 28K. On this board, the small size folds out pure air, taxes random overcards like ace-queen, and keeps worse-made hands honest without bloating the pot or polarizing his range. Negreanu's raised to 95K. From this configuration is perfectly believable. He's repping sets, 2-pair like 6-5 suited, and some straights. With deuces, he isn't spinning it. He holds a live gutter to the wheel plus 2 cleanouts to a set, so he's applying pressure with real equity while seizing the narrative. The sizing forces overpairs and top pairs to define themselves now, rather than getting a cheap turn that could punish them. Luca's call protects his overpairs and some slow plays, but it also hands tempo to Negreanu and nudges Luca toward a bluff-catch posture on a lot of turns. He's inviting Negreanu to keep telling the story and hoping to catch him on a bad card. The turn pairs the 3 and Luca checks. It's a tricky card for both players. It slightly trims the number of set combos. Negreanu repped on the flop, while making overpairs feel a touch safer against bluffs and draws. Negreanu checks back. That's the disciplined pivot. Firing again would polarize on a card that dulls his set story and invites stubborn calls from exactly the hands he wants to move on the river. The river is the 8 of clubs, and Luca checks a 3rd time. After flop pressure and turn control, that 3rd check leaves his range heavy on single pair hands that hate facing a big ask.
Daniel bets ridiculously big, 400K.
Wow.
And Luca folds.
That was not the bet he was trying to induce. Daniel's reputation earns him a win there. Bluffs like that from him are few and far between.
Jennifer Tilly is looking down on 8-6 suited. Negreanu opens with ace-2 offsuit. That is a light but purposeful steal. using the ace as a blocker to reduce the chance he runs into a premium and leaning on position to realize whatever equity shows up later. Tilly answers with a re-raise. That choice is great against a suspected wide open because suited connectors play cleanly post-flop, deny cheap realization to the opener, and set her up to attack a player who loves to take flops.
It's a little too small, Jen. Phil Locke is going to be upset with you after that raise size because it's too small.
Last time I took advice from you, I lost the tournament.
Sorry.
Negreanu calls rather than four-betting. He keeps her range wide, carries the positional advantage into a pot that is not yet bloated, and quietly pockets the option to turn later cards into leverage, even when he misses.
Okay, now I'm going to do the dunk bet.
It's not a donk bet because you were the pre-flop raiser.
Oh, okay, it's not a dunk bet.
It's a continuation bet.
A continuation bet.
Tilly follows through for a small C-bet. The sizing stresses floats and gut shots and keeps her range comfortably uncapped.
A lot of bad cards can come off, and then I can just bluff raise the turn or something stupid like that.
You could.
Turn a pair into a bluff. I'm really good at that. It's one of my big things Bill Reynolds taught me.
Negreanu does not have value, but he does have a plan. He calls to float, buying one more card and preserving the initiative advantage that comes from acting last. If she slows on the turn, he gets to tell the next chapter. If she barrels big, he can release cheaply and move on. The texture inches toward the middling wheelish territory that favors the caller. Tilly checks. That single check compresses her range away from very strong overpairs and toward one-pair hands and draws that prefer pot control. Negreanu seizes the mic with a bet. The number is not huge, but the message is loud. He denies a free card to overcards, pressures hands like ace-queen and king-jack that C-bet once, and begins building a story that can arrive at straights and two-pair by the river. His literal hand did not improve, however his distribution did, because the cards he credibly represent improved. Calling the flop to take it away on the turn is classic small ball pressure, and he executes it cleanly. This is the card that ties the room together, and the run-out connects squarely with the very suited connectors that defend 3-bet pots from the blinds. Tilly leads small. That type of sizing often functions as a blocker, a way to name a price with a hand that does not want to face a pot-sized bomb. To Negreanu, that looks like a door left slightly open. He chooses to kick it in and chips. The shove polarizes him to the straights and strong two-pair he has been representing since the turn.
We probably have the same hand. Oh, so sick. You have 9-jack, right?
Would that be the same hand as you have? Because if you did have that and you didn't call by now, it would be a little bizarre.
You're in Jennifer Tilly's seat. You have the straight. Negreanu shoves over your small lead. What's your move, snap call, or an impossible fold? And why in one sentence? Best clear answer gets pinned.
Oh, God.
Oh, you have a 6? Have you raised me with a 6 out of position?
No.
That's crazy talk.
Tilly folds.